Okay, game designers. So I want to add a little more functionality to my collision in my enemy template. So in my enemy template script, and right here, I do have some code that creates those explosion particles. But what if I also want something to happen to the other object in the collision? So in this case, if it's if it's the player bullet, I don't want the player bullet to continue to move up the screen once it's destroyed an enemy. I feel that that would make each player bullet too powerful. So one of the things that I can do is refer to this area. So when it detects an area that's entered, it also will store information about that area that entered the collision mask of our enemy. So if I want something to happen to that other thing, I could say area, which now is equal to whatever that overlapping area was, and I can say that I want it to be destroyed. So Q free will take the area and remove it from the game. So let me show you that. So when I shoot my bullet, you'll see my bullet then is destroyed when the enemy is destroyed. But there could be a small problem with that, because if my player overlaps the enemy, then I have a really big issue here. You can see that now my player is instantly destroyed. So I have to be kind of careful about how I do this. So one of the ways that I could check to see what object actually is interacting with my enemy is that's to look at its collision layer bit. So if you remember way back, and when I did the player bullet, so let me bring up the player bullet scene. Oh, I guess it's already open. So the player bullet is set on collision layer bit 1. So 0, 1, 2. So I'll know that if its collision layer mask is bit 1, then it's going to be a player bullet. So back to my script here, and I can say if get collision layer bit, and if that happens to be 1, then I want that area to be destroyed. And then that's when I want the enemy's HP to go down by 1 too, because the bullet is going to do 1 damage. But now what happens if it's my player? Now my player doesn't currently have health, I don't believe. So, and I haven't included a health bar or any of that, but I'm going to go ahead and add health to my player, and I'll set that to 100%. And then in my my enemy template, now I have to say what I want to have happen if that area happens to be, it's got to be if area get collision layer bit. And then that should work. Let's make sure that I didn't just break something. So I'm going to play my game and see if I can still shoot my enemy, or if I created a problem. Nope, that's working just fine. And then now I have to decide how I want it to affect my player. So back to my script, enemy template. So how do I identify this as being the player? So one of the things I could do is if area name is equal to player, then I can have some things happen. So I can say area health minus equals, I will say we'll do 50 damage. And then I would want to also take, well, I'd probably want to just set the health to 0 because I want it to instantly destroy the enemy. But I won't be able to see my player health. So let me go to the player script and say, I'll create a function, health changed, and then it's going to, well, I'm actually making this a little more complicated than I have to. I should probably create a health bar. So I'm going to go to player. I'm going to add a progress bar, probably the easiest way to do this. So a progress bar and a health bar are the same, minimum value, maximum value. So the current value I want to be, we'll just say 100 for now. So if function health changed, and when that function happens, it's going to update the progress bar. So progress bar value equals health. Let's go to 2D mode and see what our progress bar actually looks like, because it's where is it? So it's in the middle of our enemy. It's also going the wrong way. So am I going to be able to move that without moving the enemy? No, because I think I have children as not being selectable. So let's move that health bar down and go to select mode, make it a little bit bigger. And for now, it's just going to say the percentage. I do want to change some things about it. I want to add some colors, but I want to do that in another video. I just want to be able to see that I can affect the player health. So back to my enemy template. And so if the area that's colliding, its name is player, that area health will be affected. We're going to call the function area health changed, and set the HP of our enemy. And let's just make sure health changed. So that will update the progress bar. Let's see if it all works. We're getting pretty complicated now. We're in a few different things. Upon collision, you can see that my health did drop down to 50% because it did identify this object as having the name player. One thing that does happen though during respawns occasionally is when Godot introduces a new object into the room, occasionally the player or the node is given a number following it, sort of like enemy 1 and enemy 4. The player, when it respawns, might show up as player 1. So perhaps using the name isn't necessarily the best way. Another method of identifying something is to see if it actually has a function. So for example, we know that this object, this area, or this player has a method or a function health changed. So when I go back to my enemy template, another method I could do if I don't think name is going to be reliable is if area has method and health changed, then if it can find this function in the area, it will also work. And then that way I don't have to worry about if Godot has renamed my object. So let's see if that works. And it did. It found that this object had the function health changed, and so it affected it accordingly. So that's a couple of different ways of using the area information on an area entered to have a different outcome. By the way, I forgot to point this out the other day when I was doing my explosion particle. I did have it print the amount of green contribution, and that was based on this float. Here's some examples of what the floating values are. So again, when you have randf with the parentheses ×1, you're going to get a random number, a random decimal between 0 and 1, and you can see that Godot likes to go 6 places to the right of the decimal, and that's how I'm getting some oranges and some reds and some yellows. Using the output window is a great way to debug your game. So once again, using the area information that's returned when an area enters, we were able to have one outcome when it was the bullet, and we had a different outcome when it was the player that collided with the object. So that's this video. Hopefully you were able to follow. I know I had to go in a couple different nodes at this point, and I had to add a progress bar, which we will improve on in the future. And a lot happened in just a short amount of time. So hopefully you were able to follow along and if you happen to learn something new, please go ahead and, good timing on the bell. Go ahead and hit like for this video. Thanks for watching.